Good evening everyone and welcome along to SUTV Live. We're coming to you live from our studio at Bramall Lane as we bring you unrivaled build-up to tonight's game at the Riverside as the Blades bid to extend their unbeaten league run to 6 matches. Standing in their way, a Middlesbrough side led by a certain Neil Warnock. The countdown to kick-off starts here and it's free to view for all Sheffield United fans on this platform. For all of the details regarding broadcasting regulations relating to the live match coverage, please go to sufc.co.uk. Here's what's coming up then between now and kick-off. We'll take a look back at Saturday's win over Derby County. We'll be hearing from Slaviša Jokanovic, Ben Davies and George Baldock joins us for a chat in an SUTV Live exclusive. And all of that will be done in the company of 2 former Blades who are with us here in the studio. Hello again, welcome along. Great to have you with us. We're hoping that Sheffield United can continue their recent good run of form and keep on their climb up the championship table. Without further ado, let's introduce you to tonight's special guest. Giving his opinion, as ever, from that chair and the commentary box as well, is Kevin Gage. And he made a rather encouraging debut at the weekend, so we've invited him back. It's Rob Kozluk. Evening.
Evening, guys.
Good to see you again. Let's crack straight on with the team news. It's just been announced. One change. Enda Stevens in for Rhys Norrington-Davies. Kevin, let's start with you. Your thoughts on that?
To be expected, I think. A fit Enda Stevens is always going to get the nod over Norrington-Davies, and Enda proved his worth and his fitness when he came on in the second half against Derby. His quality on the ball is excellent. He seemed to be back to the form that we expected of him and that we've seen from him over the last 3 or 4 seasons. So that's a positive change. I'm really happy with that.
Some real understanding now, isn't there, developing, and that comes from consistency in team selection, I guess, Rob.
Yeah, I think the change of Enda Stevens and Norrington-Davies, it's no disrespect to Norrington-Davies, he's done exceptional well, but Enda Stevens would probably get the nod over him when it comes to it. And Slaviša spoke last week about having 2 positions for every, so yeah, it's a competition for place and it'll benefit. And
David McGoldrick back on the bench as well. Good to see him fit again, and maybe he'll play some part tonight as well.
Well, it's possible, yeah. We don't know quite what his fitness situation is, whether he will only be able to play a certain amount of minutes. But again, it's just good to see all these players returning from injury and being available for selection. It just gives the manager so many options, doesn't it?
You have to find different ways to win in this division. We've known that for a long time. Was Saturday an example of that, Rob?
I think Saturday just shows the spirit within this Sheffield United camp, that 1-0 win against a tough Derby side to be beaten on the day, although they went down to 10 men, does show the promise that the side's got.
Kevin, how do you reflect on that Derby performance?
I genuinely think it was a really big 3 points for us. It was a test, and by a test, I mean Derby are a good side, and despite going down to 10 men, they made it very, very difficult for us. They defended very, very well, and we had to find a way round that and through that. And I know Slav got a little bit frustrated sometimes. You could hear with his head in his hands as Baldock was coming in and trying to strike a left footer in from 25 yards. He wanted us to get round the outside and go for overlaps and play little balls into the penalty area and try and create things, not just hit and hope into the box. So by and by, I think we coped with it well and we got through it in the end, albeit slightly fortuitous the way the penalty was given away.
So United building some momentum. Shall we have a look at the league table and see how things stand going into tonight? Sheffield United in 11th. Middlesbrough not in a good run of form, but only 3 points behind the Blades. So there's real incentive for Neil Warnock to try and get his team moving in the right direction. And they have struggled of late. They're struggling for goals. And there are 1 or 2 murmurs of discontent just beginning to brew. But he will look at this fixture as a potential spark, won't he? This might be, in his view, the ideal kind of game to get a positive result from and performance to really kick their season off. Would you agree with that, Rob?
Yeah, I think you'll see this fixture that he will love to beat Sheffield United, albeit the ties that he's got. He always returns to his old clubs wanting to put one over them to prove a point, and tonight's no different. So yeah, they might be in a bad vein of form, but tonight is a different game.
The Neil Warnock factor. How much might that have a bearing on what kind of a game we're likely to see, Kevin?
Well, I mean, he's a pantomime villain at sometimes, isn't he? He likes the publicity and he winds people up, doesn't he? He's been doing that for nearly 30, 40 years in management. So I don't think tonight's going to be any different. I see he was moaning about referees at the weekend as well, and I think
nothing changes as sure as night follows day.
I think he deflects criticism from himself and his team by aiming it all at the referees sometimes. But he's been around and he knows the game, and yeah, Rob's exactly right. He'll want to put one over on Sheffield United, even though we won't say he pretends to be a Blade, but he's got a soft spot for the Blades.
So one change, just to recap, for Sheffield United tonight. Ender Stevens in for Reece Norrington Davis. We referred to the Derby win. Let's have a little look back as to how Sheffield United achieved those 3 points on Saturday.
Oliver Norwood sends one into the Derby County half. Njai, Fleck, good boom this from United. Fleck from distance, comfortable for Roos. Now George Baldock sees the run here of Billy Sharp. The flag stays down, can he control? Billy Sharp, he did all the hard work. Jagielka up from the back. Goes to the far post. Danger here against the crossbar. Still not away. Scramble in the penalty area. In between Robin Olsen and his defenders. Sheffield United have managed to get that clear. Norwood. Lovely ball here for George Baldock. Early cross looking for Billy Sharp. He got between the defenders from Buchanan. High break for Sibley. United are a bit slow there. Blocked. And then struck just wide by Sam Baldock. Switch the right and Burn. It's not a bad ball in. Baldock down in the area. Now Lawrence on the edge of the box. Shinnie will strike this one. Decent hit. Pushed away by Robin Olsen. Olsen leaves it. Lawrence hits it. Smashes it straight into the wall. Now Osborne cuts in field. His least favoured foot, and then finds Sharp making the break. Looking for Njai. It might come for Osborne, and that was a vital challenge. And that is the final action of the first half. Ben Osborne almost giving United the lead. It's a lovely ball, and Sharp's onto this one. The keeper's come a long way. Sharp goes down. It comes here for Osborne. Osborne, well, the referee has given a free kick. Why does he not play on there? It's red. That's a big talking point. Kelleroos sent off for Derby County. Takes it on himself. Njai. Gibbs White. Njai again. This is good play from United. Njai with a shot. Flex delivery. To the edge of the box. Gibbs White. Sharp for Gibbs White. Chance here. What an opportunity. John Fleck lofted in towards Morgan Gibbs White. Comes down for Howrahan. What a block. Another corner. George Baldock trying to pick out a cross. Fires it in low. It's gone through everyone. And Stevens crashes it over the bar. Howrahan's cross is a good one. That's got to be a handball. It's a penalty to Sheffield United.
You saw the hand, didn't you? It went through a body of players.
Sharp against Allsop here. Billy Sharp steps up and scores for Sheffield United. Fires it down the middle. They've had to be patient, but with 89 minutes on the clock, it's Blades 1, Derby County 0. Davis jumps, flicks on well. Here's Tom Lawrence, great first touch. Lawrence hits the post towards the edge of the area. Important header clear. The referee checked his watch, and there is the full-time whistle. It's victory for Sheffield United.
So that's how Sheffield United did it on Saturday, and it was that man Billy Sharp again, Kevin Gage. He's just undroppable at the moment, isn't he?
He certainly is. I've been raving about his performances all season, to be honest. You're exactly right. He scores goals, which is usually why he gets in the team. But at the moment, even if he doesn't score, you can't drop him because his performances are so good.
He was getting so much flack from the Derby fans at the weekend, but he had the final word. He also had a chat with us afterwards to tell us what he felt was the difference between the two sides.
Yeah, frustrated. Should have scored early on in the game. A big chance. I felt if we'd have got that, we'd have put them to bed. I think we were a far better side. Obviously, there are a couple of chances, but it's always hard when you play against 10 men. And, you know, Jags and Davis at the back were clearing things off when we were putting things in the box, but managed to get the goal in the end and get the 3 points, which is the main thing.
had to be patient as a team, but persistence paid off in the end.
Yeah, the gaffer's just said that, you know, don't get desperate the last 20 minutes, just keep probing and keep trying to create chances. And, you know, we should have won 2 or 3 or maybe 4 today. I missed a couple, Illiman could have had a couple, and we've had a few flash across the box, but you know, we've got there in the end. 3 points is what matters, and need to build momentum now and go again Tuesday.
4th of the season for you. You mentioned momentum, not just for the team but for you yourself as well.
Yeah, I'm disappointed I haven't got more than 1 today, but I was just, you know, glad we've got the 3 points in the end, so I wouldn't be, you know, headbutting the wall all night, ruining my chances that I missed. But I'm happy that I managed to get on the score sheet to help the team. And like I say, we've got a big week coming up where we need to try and get as many points as we can now to get up the table.
I think it's fair to say that you enjoy scoring against Derby County, don't you?
Yeah, I wish I could play against them every week. I think their fans are disrespectful to me today. I don't mind stick, but if they're going to give me that all game, then they deserve that back. So I'm delighted I've scored against them, because I don't like them.
And speaking of the crowd, the Bramall Lane crowd, how good were they today, especially when that penalty went?
Yeah, to be honest, I was pretty nervous today over the spot, just because of last penalty. But I was happy to see it go in, and, you know, like I say, my emotions took over a little bit, but it's great to score in front of the Kop. It's what I love doing, and hopefully that continues for more goals to come.
And that sets us up nicely now for 2 very big away days, Middlesbrough and then Bournemouth.
Yeah, couldn't be any tougher really. I don't know how Middlesbrough went on today, but they're struggling of late, so we know it's going to be tough, always is at their place, so we need to make sure we're in strong from the start like we was today, and just be a little bit more clinical in the final third. I'm delighted for the lads as well, for Robin to get a clean sheet, so hopefully we can build on that as well, because, you know, the lads love keeping clean sheets, and, you know, they win games as well, so we're delighted all round today.
Very well done today.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, who better to analyse Billy Sharp's technique from the penalty spot than Rob Kozluk? Penalty master, maybe not, but he's in fabulous form, and his record on penalties, I think you'll both agree, Kevin, as well, is pretty impressive, isn't it? The way he manages to hold his nerve in the way that he does.
Yeah, he doesn't miss many, does he?
No.
As you said, I think he would have been a little bit more nervous because he obviously missed his last one against Hull. And last minute in front of the Kop against, his arch rivals. They're not really our arch rivals, are they, Derby? They're fairly local, but from what's gone in the past, you know, with Billy and his connections, that he, as he said himself, he would have been nervous. And I mean, he dispatched that brilliantly, just whacking it straight down the middle.
Has his all-round game changed in any way, do you think, since the change in manager? We saw recently that, you know, he's been laying goals on for others as well. Have you seen any notable changes in his game or not?
I think as he's got older, he's just got more experience, and he knows exactly where to be. He obviously knows where to be when crosses are coming in the box, because he's done that, you know, from the year dot since he's been at Sheffield United. But I think he's got far more experience and got cuter with his general play, holding the ball up and bringing other people into play. His performances have been outstanding. They really have.
Rob, what about your penalty record? Did you ever get anywhere near a penalty?
Yeah, I mean, if I was in the same situation as Billy there in the last minute, I'd have rather fake my own death than step up and take that. I must admit, I weren't stepping up for that.
You'd have Panenka'd it, wouldn't you?
I would have, yeah, in my dreams, but not there. So, yeah, I think the manager in the last minute like that is wanting that technique to put your foot through it, and if you miss putting your foot through it like that, you'll hold your hands up. So, no, it's a great record, and credit to Billy Sharp.
Kevin, I understand you were a bit of a penalty king in your playing days at Wimbledon, weren't you?
Well, Blades fans probably won't believe this, but I didn't miss for 6 years. So
you didn't take one. You didn't take one.
You didn't take one in 6 years.
all through the youth team and the reserves, and then into the first team, and then I missed 2 on the trot for the first team. One was live on the TV against Neville Southall, though, so it was at least a decent keeper saved it.
You're excused. And what about the other one?
The other one was David Seaman, so yeah. But at least
who's who of goalkeeping here?
It takes a good keeper to save one of my penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about for Sheffield United? I can't remember.
No, but
too many.
No, the opportunity never came round. Sometimes I would be on penalties. You know, you make a decision in the change room beforehand. It's just mentioned, but the opportunity never came about. So No, luckily I didn't. I kept my record kind of intact.
Well, let's have another look at the team news. I think we can have a gander at that again, can't we? One change for the Blaze tonight. Stevens in for Norrington Davis for tonight's game at Middlesbrough. Robin Olsen, just a quick word on him. We were here together when he made his debut. A bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it, that night? But do you feel that he's brought a calming presence to this defence, Kevin, since he's come into the side?
I would think I think he will do. I think it's taken him a little bit of time to settle down. His handling hasn't been as clean as I'd like it to be honest. There's been a few shots straight at him that he's just spilled, 4 or 5 yards in front of him. Fortunately, no one's there to pick up on that. No opposition have got any rebounds. But he hasn't made any crucial, big mistakes. But I'd like him to just be a little bit more dominant in and around his penalty area. But listen, he's an international keeper, isn't he? He's 50 odd caps for Sweden. He's been around the game, so I'm sure he'll prove to be an excellent signing for Sheffield United in the long term.
Let's have a nosy at Middlesbrough as well. This is what Neil Warnock has gone with tonight. He has changed things around a little bit. I mean, Sol Bamba, I can see, has come into the side there from the weekend. Duncan Watmore as well. Matt Crooks, the former Rotherham player, able to play, was sent off at the weekend. That rightly was overturned. It was never a red card. We think they'll go with 4 at the back, but with the players he's got out there, he could potentially go with a 3 if he wanted to. But interestingly, Isaiah Jones, who I was looking forward to seeing, because he's been doing really well apparently, a young lad down the left-hand side, he's dropped to the bench. So he's gone for a bit of strength and experience. I think that's probably why Bamba is in there. Great servant. He seems to follow Neil around to Leeds and to Cardiff as well. Rob, what do you make of that starting lineup that Neil's gone with?
Yeah, it looks to me like he's obviously gone with the players now he can trust and he thinks he can get a bit of a reward from, having dropped, like you say, a few foreigners and a young boy to the bench. But on the bench, he's almost dropped his flair and his match winners to the bench. So from Sheffield United's view, it's probably a great 11, because Sheffield United are better 1 to 11 than what's on show tonight. And if you can get your Gibbs Whites and your Dias at your Bambas and your boys like that, it is for good viewing.
No matter what the standard of player he's got at his disposal, we know one thing for certain: they'll have fire in their belly tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Rob's exactly right. That's exactly what Neil Warnock will be setting out to do. He doesn't want us to get the ball down and start playing our football and bringing our players like Gibbs White and Ndiaye and people like that into play. He'd rather it was a bit of a battle and a bit of a fight, and it's pouring down with rain on Riverside on a Tuesday night. It's perfectly set up for a bit of Warnock.
It's always raining in Middlesbrough, isn't it? It's always grey in Middlesbrough. No disrespect to anybody on Teesside, but it's always that way.
Yeah, it's
I don't know any different up there.
It's perfectly set up for a bit of Warnock ball, as it's called.
Warnock ball. Can we hear from Ben Osborne? I think we probably can. I managed to grab a word with him a short while ago when he arrived at the Riverside. This is what he had to say about tonight's game. Ben, let's start by looking ahead to the game at the Riverside tonight. I guess you've travelled there in good spirits. You must have done.
Yeah, we've off the back of a few good results. Performances have improved the last couple of weeks. And then obviously it was important to get that victory against Derby at the weekend. So we're looking to build the momentum and carry it on.
How much more do you feel there is to come from this team at the moment?
Yeah, I still think there's a lot to come, to be honest. I think at times against Derby and Hull was still a little bit sloppy, but it still felt really comfortable. So I think if we're a little bit better around the box and a bit tidier, we can start to punish teams a little bit more.
I think we all know what we can expect from a Neil Warnock side, and obviously his links to Sheffield United will be a factor, no doubt, as well. They'll be fired up, won't they? Are you expecting quite a war tonight?
Yeah, they'll be right up for it. With I think the gaffer knows Neil Warnock quite well. Obviously played against him quite a few times, and we've got a game plan. I'm sure they'll have a game plan as well. We've tried our best to kind of predict what they'll do, but not sure what they'll come with. But we just need to be at it, and hopefully we can get a good result.
It was interesting. I heard Ben Davis talking about, you know, the need to almost to have a 7-point week, as it were, because you're playing catch up after a slow start. Is that something you subscribe to?
Yeah, I think looking at the table after the first 5 games, we were hugely disappointed. It was the old, you know, transition from manager and new style of play, and I think we've sort of look a lot more comfortable in the formation that we've been playing, and sort of the personnel there, it seems to be suiting us a lot. So yeah, we are playing catch up, and we just want to keep putting runs together, and hopefully we can get a good result tonight and go into the weekend with a big game against Bournemouth.
Thanks for your time, mate. Good luck tonight.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Top man, cheers. Speaks ever so well, doesn't he, Ben Osborne, Kevin? And what he brings to the team is boundless energy. You know what you're going to get from him. He's a very consistent performer, isn't he, Ben Osborne?
Yeah, absolutely. You need players like that around, don't you? You've got your flair players and your match winners, and listen, he can get the odd goal or two, can't he? As he's proved this season. But yeah, he's a 7.5, 8 out of 10 performer week in, week out, isn't he?
Do we think he's finally pinned down what his position is? Because he's played everywhere, really, and he has done before he came to Sheffield United as well. Is he playing in the position that you feel he's best suited to now?
Yes, because he's not a left back, is he? He's not a raiding left winger, so he's got a little bit of licence to roam about, and he just gets on the ball and he drags the ball inside, and he just brings other people into play. It's just an all-round good quality footballer.
So Neil Warnock in opposition tonight. Rob Kozluk, you know all about him. I want to take you all the way back to when he first brought you to Bramall Lane. What do you remember?
I remember on his first day, I mean, it was up the old training ground, and we knew of his past history and that. And we
loving the hair, by the way, on you just then.
So you know his past history, etc. But this particular training session, he's gone, get your pads on, and we're thinking, oh, like we can kick the hell out of each other. And I remember it raining, and it was like we ended up calling it murder ball, because you just chucked balls on, you were beating each other up, and he used to say, I love blood. I mean, this is training. We're just fighting. So from day one, we knew what character he was, what he wanted from you, and you're seeing his sides, weren't you, wherever he's been. He's had that mentality.
Yeah, but he defended his players to the hilt, and what surprised me, the documentary he did, and everybody must have seen it by now. What went on behind closed doors stayed there, and he might have given you as a group a right old ear bashing, but when he came out to see the press, it was rare that he hung anybody out to dry. So in that sense, he obviously gained your trust and vice versa very quickly as a manager, yeah?
Yeah, I think when you speak to any past player he's played under, his man management skills, like you mentioned, are what's got him to where he is, because you could give a goal away on the Saturday, come Monday morning, it'd be forgot, because you have to go again, and he needs the best from you. But I think whoever has played underneath him will all to this day still keep in touch and still probably call him Gaffer.
Kevin, he's 72. Some going, isn't it? And he's still got the passion for the game as he did when he first set out on this path.
Yeah, he was retiring 20 years ago, wasn't he?
More comebacks than Frank Sinatra is his favourite.
He's had about five last clubs, hasn't he? And yeah. I've no doubt he'll get a phone call from a chairman, you know, in the near future maybe. He's like the fourth emergency service for managers, isn't he? If you're in trouble at the bottom of the league, you get on the phone to Warnock.
He's your man.
A bit like Sam Allardyce used to be. But yeah, his record is, I mean, I'm doing him a disservice there, because he's far more to him than just getting teams out of the relegation zone, because he's obviously fantastic promotion record as well. So
those figures are amazing, aren't they?
It's a remarkable
Crazy,
career.
yeah.
The win percentage there is very, very good. To get anywhere up near in the 40s, high 40s, is superb, to be honest.
I don't think we're going to see figures like that for a manager anytime soon, are we? Over 1,500 games as a manager, 8 promotions as well during that time. That's going to be very difficult for any up-and-coming managers or managers in jobs right now to get anywhere near, isn't it?
I'd like to see the percentage of referees he's abused on the touchline as well. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
But he could give you a going over, though, couldn't he? If he wanted to, Rob.
Yeah, I've had a few. I mean, promotions 8, been to Cornwall with different teams 20. No, if you're on the back end of him after a game, like you say, you've seen the documentaries, haven't you? Get out of my sight. He really means get out of my sight before I chin you.
How did you get on with him on a personal level? Because you were the joker in the pack. Did he like your sense of humour?
Yeah, he used to be one of those where of the heat of the moment you can take the humour and quieten things down, but at the same time he knew that the jest off the pitch, as soon as you got to a match day, it was game on. Yeah,
because you like to tease Phil Jagielka about him being his long lost son or something like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, one day, particular at Sheffield, it's raining and he's gone to Jaggy. You can go in, Jaggy, I don't want you getting wet, but everyone else can stay out. Go and get a massage, Jaggy. So he had his favourites, but like you say, what Jaggy was doing on the field, etc., and Browns and that, we didn't mind. It was the togetherness we had that we just got on with it.
You talk about the Neil Warnock documentary. There's one clip in it, and I had to get the guys here to get it for us because it involves you. Just have a look at this.
You've got to be a good player to wear them, Cos.
They take them off now?
No. Not you, son.
It's only a short clip, but that makes me laugh, and that was very sharp from you, Cosy, very sharp.
It gets brought up all the time.
Does it?
Yeah, it's on Facebook, it's on everything, but they were brand new that night, and I wish I still had them. I mean,
were they night?
They were Predators.
Were they Predators?
Adidas, yeah.
Yeah, and it went all right for you that night as well.
I think my sponsor, Jagielka, had given me them that night.
Do you still stay in touch with Neil? If so, how often do you speak?
I obviously saw him the other week at the event was at the awards night.
Yeah.
But yeah, if ever he's invited me up to Middlesbrough when they play Derby and that, so I will take him up on that.
And in terms of the influence that you had on your career, would you say that he's been the biggest?
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, 10 years under one manager speaks for itself, doesn't it? So I think in that time you've seen off something like 15 right backs. So he brings somebody in to get you out. So I mean, the goals record.
Is that you or is that an imposter?
The goals record
is you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my younger brother. But the goals, like you say, I got fined if I went over the halfway line, and I got fined if I shot from out that side of the area. So 3 is an unbelievable record in my eyes.
It's not bad. What do you remember all 3?
I'd like to say I did, but
come on, Stoke was Grimsby one.
Grimsby, Doncaster.
And Doncaster. The Grimsby one I remember, but that was a decent.
Yeah, the lads still have me on
memory.
about the celebration. I went over to an empty stand in Grimsby and what are you doing? Well, but.
Kevin, what do you feel from the outside looking in? Because you never played for him. Actually, let me rephrase the question. How do you think you would have performed under a manager like Neil?
I'm sure I'd have loved playing under him because I had a very similar manager in Dave Bassett. Obviously, he was an absolute legend down there alongside Warnock. So Rob's just said 10 years. So I had 10 years under Bassett, probably 11 years under Bassett, but in 2 different spells at 2 different clubs. So I think the mentality is exactly the same. He just likes to get a very good dressing room together, a few characters in it. You knew how far you could push Bassett, and I'd imagine Warnock's the same. You knew when to draw the line and to get down to serious business. But Bassett's very much the same. He liked players he could trust and he could rely on, and he needed them about the place. And so they're both very similar, aren't they, Bassett and Warnock? And they both had good success and made a fantastic career in professional football management.
Always nice to reminisce, but let's get back to the here and now, shall we? Let's hear from Ben Davis, who says he's delighted that they've finally been able to put some momentum together.
Yeah, I think playing at Bramwell Lane when there's obviously a full house really helps when they get behind the team. So I think that helps with the momentum. Obviously winning games and picking up points. Like I say, we had a difficult start to the season, so we're kind of playing catch up a little bit, but that's why it's important to keep this kind of run going as long as we can.
Is the Derby result somewhat significant? Because there's been a couple of games, hasn't there, where you've dropped points right at the end of games, but here was a game where you've managed to turn a draw to a win, late goal, you get through, and does that give you something? Is that a little bit of a turning point there for you as well?
I think it's just pleasing to obviously see it through. I think we need to manage the games better when we take the lead later on. But it's just kind of, the Championship, it's never easy, and every team's going to cause a threat right until the end. So hopefully we can continue this kind of upward curve that we're on, but we know that it's not going to be comfortable or easy.
And finally with Middlesbrough, do you expect a bit of a wounded animal in this game? I mean, they've not had the best run. You know, do you have to expect that there's going to be a reaction from them?
Yeah, definitely. I think every single game is going to be a tough game in this league. You know, like I said before, they've got some good players and it's never easy going away from home, but hopefully we can put our game plan and ideas into the game and come away with a positive result.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that Kevin Gage does not do his preparation for these games, because he has come up with some stats about Ben Davies, haven't you?
Well, like bullet points rather than stats.
Oh, bullet points.
But my analyst friends have told me that he hasn't lost a ground duel this season. He hasn't been dispossessed. And the other one is, just checking it, he hasn't been dribbled past.
Really?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, if it's wrong, someone can correct me, but
Huddersfield.
This is what I'm told. This is what somebody's told me.
I don't want to shoot your facts and figures down, Kevin, far from it. But Huddersfield. Anyway, someone will write in, email, tweet in and tell us if Kevin's wrong. But they sound good, so we're not going to get the facts get in the way of a good little story there about Ben Davies. But he's made a big difference. There's no doubt about that. And I remember chatting to you when he first came, and we knew he probably would. And he's settled in seamlessly, hasn't he?
Yeah, he gives a nice bit of balance on the left-hand side, doesn't he? And he's got big boots to fill in Jack O'Connell, and he's on the way to filling them. Completely different type of player, of course, but he does look comfortable there. And he's got Egan alongside him, winning headers and tackling things. And I think he just mops up and just suits that left-hand side centre-half role.
Rob, a player that you'll have seen a lot of, Ben Davies, brings a bit of quality back there, doesn't he?
Yeah, like you say, he's got options in front of him. So like he defends, he can do a job in that aspect. But actually threading these passes through the lines into likes of Norwoods and your Flex and those boys to get on the ball, a dream move to Liverpool, like you say, and then you're back into the Championship where now is where he belongs, and he hopefully can kick on and get back into there with Sheffield United.
Staying with matters in defence, let's hear from George Baldock, who says he's been delighted with the recent upturn in form, and he was asked whether the mood in the camp has changed dramatically recently.
It's positive, but we're always striving for more. You know, we have a lot of meetings, debriefing games and coming up against opposition and stuff like that, and you know the gaffer's always wanting to improve, and you know I think you've seen that a lot of improvements. Obviously different formation, it was going to take a bit of time to click, and you know I think we're starting to see that, but there's an awful lot more to come from us, I think.
Things have definitely improved. How important was that first international break? Was that the moment where things really started to come together? Some time on the training ground, did that help?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it was also came at a time where we managed to get a few more faces in the door. You know, obviously Illiman coming into the fold in that kind of 2-week period as well, and I think we just just worked on things. The gaffer had us out on the grass for a lot of it, and you know we really kind of worked on what he was wanting to do, and you know it was just it was always okay. We were always confident. You know we were obviously very disappointed with our start. Gave us some ground to build up on, but you know I think we're very confident at the minute, and hopefully we can push that into Middlesbrough.
You mentioned the new faces, they've all seemed to have had an impact, and of course there's nothing better, is it, than competition for players, which you've got all over the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, of course, with boys coming back from injury as well, and you know Didsy, Moose coming back now. Obviously, you know we're stacked in multiple positions, so you know it's good. It's a good headache for the manager, and I'm sure he'd rather it that way than not have enough players. So yeah, it's always good if we want to be successful.
Looking back over the weekend, you had to work really hard for the win, but I'm guessing there's no greater feeling than a last-minute winner in front of 28,000 fans.
Yeah, I thought the atmosphere was incredible on Saturday. The fans were really good. You know, and you know, on another day we would have made it a little bit easier for ourselves. We had a few chances before that. Obviously, they had something to hang on to with the draw, and you know, great ball from Ollie, obviously for the red card, and you know, it was just pressure after pressure after that, and. You know, but we were still disappointed that we gave him a chance at the end because it was so comfortable, and just need to switch on a little bit more.
We've spoken before about you coming up against your brother. It's something that's happened quite a few times in your careers, but I just wonder if you ever come directly up against each other, because he started down the left-hand side and you were playing right by.
Yeah, I was speaking to him after. It was I think it's the first time we've come up against each other directly. Obviously, come into tackles and stuff with each other, but I think he was a little bit surprised when I just grabbed him around the neck and threw him on the floor. Yeah, it's not really a special occasion anymore. It's happened quite a few times, but you know, it was they were very organised, and he had to play a different role and was organised in that position. And they made it difficult for us, but you know, most important thing was the win.
Looking ahead then to Middlesbrough, and after that Bournemouth as well, 2 very difficult away games. How much are you looking forward to the challenger here?
Yeah, of course. It's the games you want to be involved in this league. It's tough opposition, and we want to go against tough teams and show what we can do. And you know, we're looking forward to it. And like you said, 5 unbeaten, bit of confidence behind us, and you know, we'll go into it, you know, planning on trying to get the 3 points.
And a personal milestone potentially for you if you're involved in the next 2 games. You'll have clocked up then 150 appearances for Sheffield United.
Yeah, a really proud moment for me. It's you know, it's a club that everyone knows how much I love and care about, and you know, it's been great for me. Best decision of my life to come up to Sheffield and play for this fantastic club. So yeah, just delighted and very proud moment.
Just a reminder, tickets are now on sale to watch Sheffield United's ladies, and why wouldn't you want to do that? Bearing in mind they are top of the league at the moment, 3 wins out of 4. You can get yourselves down to Bramall Lane. They're playing Liverpool on Saturday the 9th of October, 3 o'clock kickoff, and tickets are only £1. Brilliant stuff. George Baldock, we were hearing from there, and 2 very qualified people alongside me who can assess how he's done during his time here and this season. 2 former right backs yourself, Rob Kozluk, Kevin Gage. Let's start with you. Again, we spoke about Ben Osborne earlier, and we know what we're going to get. More often than not, we know what we're going to get from George Baldock, don't we?
100%, yeah. He's actually raised his game a lot this season. I mean, when he first joined the club, I was a big Kieran Freeman fan, because Kieran Freeman scored goals for fun from right wing back and right full back. So I was a little bit critical of George sometimes, because his delivery and his finishing and his final ball wasn't as good as Kieran's, but he was always a very, very good defender. But I have to say he's really risen to the challenge of people who've come along, like Bogle came from Derby and was a big challenge to his place. And Baldock just keeps going and going and going, and no worries about putting him in whatsoever. Defensively, very, very sound, and his final ball and his delivery is getting better and better.
And he's been on this journey as well. As we heard there, he's close to 150 appearances, and you don't get to that amount of appearances if you're not doing very well, and he clearly has been doing very well.
Exactly, yeah. He's one of these undroppable players as well. As I say, Bogle, when he first came to the club in the middle of last season, whenever it was, we thought he was fantastic. I think Baldock was injured for a while, and Bogle got a few games, and he was like a breath of fresh air. But as soon as Baldock got back in the side, just knuckled down, did his defensive work. As I say, his deliveries were good. He improved with his final pass. It was like he'd never been away. And I have to say, out of the 2, you know, you'd pick Baldock every time. And I like Bogle as a player. I think he's a really good player. But I'd have to say Baldock always gets the nod for me.
I'm going to let you go to the commentary position, but before you do go, prediction for tonight?
I think we'll win by the odd goal, probably 1-0, something like that. I think it'll be a tight game tonight, but I think we'll nick it.
Okay, off you pop. We'll see whether you're right. Rob, George Baldock, your views on him?
No, I really enjoy watching George play, and like you say, close to 150 games. But even Saturday, coming down here, he gets plenty of ball, don't you? You always think something's going to happen when he's on the ball, his delivery, and because he's getting in the final third so much, and you say he's got options, and he's starting to make some really good decisions in the final third.
A bit like you used to, you mean, getting in the final third all the time?
I mean, he's in the final third a little bit more than I did, but no, credit to George. I mean, like Gagey just said, he stuck to his task, hasn't he? To see off Bogle, who was an exceptional player coming over from Derby, and that's the rivalry he needs, that probably thought, I tell you what, I've got to start stepping my game up, and it kicks people on.
Kick-off is fast approaching at the Riverside, roughly 5 minutes or so to go, so time to hear from the Sheffield United manager, Slaviša Jokanovic, who knows exactly what his team can expect to face tonight.
I expect one strong, one Neil Warnock team, hard to compete with them. Is lot of the games is they will try and find the situation 1 against 1. I play a lot of the times against Neil. It's one of my favorite coaches in the England. I like have chat with him. I like after the game drink some beer with him always. Was his pleasure to stay and have some conversation with him. Of course, I will be looking for everything, all the side for win the game. But I know him, he know me too, and he's more or less. I don't change a lot of my style, like he didn't change it. And at the end, I watch the games. We are ready. I am sure they are ready too, and we will see what will happen.
Could you imagine managing as long as he has in his career?
It's I don't know. This is he's 72. He's still working. I prefer working all my life, but this is I am not thinking about this. Simple. It's but it's all his number, his career is for all the respect, and we must to respect everything what he do in this for this sport in this country.
So two formidable characters toe-to-toe on the touchline tonight. Slaviša Jokanovic, Rob Kozluk, he's got the pedigree, he's got the CV. What do you make of him as a manager?
You say, like the games are coming thick and fast now, and he's getting into this Sheffield United life quite well. And with the fans backing and the love they're going to give him, he'll relish within this opportunity he's given.
He's got great authority, and you can't say that about every manager out there, but he does exude that kind of aura about him, doesn't he? He has that to his character.
Yeah, I've played with managers that haven't got that, so that is one trait that within a manager that Slav's got. Warnock had it. So there's two managers tonight who have got that presence on the sidelines, and you know when they're stood there that you've got to perform.
Live pictures there of the Riverside. You got happy memories of playing there?
Riverside, not really. I can't ever remember going there on many occasions, but like you say, I've been heading a lot of balls since that, so I can't even remember how I got here.
It's up north. In terms of the game tonight, it's easy to talk about getting an early goal, but it's how you start, isn't it? That can set the tempo. I'm sure that's what the manager is preaching to his players. Start well, set the tempo.
Yeah, I'd like to see a better start than I actually showed against Derby. So the tempo, take the game to Borough, because they're in a bad vein of form. So keep them in it and put the pressure on. But at the flip side of it, whereas Derby didn't have the firepower up top, you shut up shop. And I think this Sheffield United side tonight has got far too much for this Borough side.
So in terms of a prediction, a scoreline, what are you going to go for?
I was going to sit on the fence before I saw the lineups of 1-1, but I'm going a United win.
He's going a United win. So Kevin and Rob are both very, very confident. Right, the teams are about to walk at the Riverside, so high time to hand you over to our commentary team tonight, Kevin Gage and Matt Young.
Five championship games unbeaten has kick-started